Troubleshooting also means knowing what the possible causes could be given a symptom. Now, if the page is not loading at all, you get error 500 or the white screen of that, whatever you want to call it. Well, for sure, that's going to be a PHP error. That's the cause. This problem could be in your custom code, could be in an out-of-date plugin, could be a function that keeps looping and looping and looping over itself and creates that evident error. So this is a first example, and you will really need this lesson in the future when you go troubleshooting WooCommerce issues. Now, if the page is loading, but you see that something is not working, like buttons, like dynamic content or interaction, well, for sure that's a JavaScript error. So once again, this could be in your custom code, could be a plugin or a theme that is creating a conflict. So just remember this difference between page not loading at all, and that's a PHP error, or page loading, but there is something broken within your interaction. So that might be a JavaScript issue. If the page is loading, interaction is working, but you see a broken layout on the other hand, well, that could be a CSS or an HTML error, because maybe you forgot to close a bracket, you forgot to close an HTML tag. So once again, this problem might stand inside your custom code, or again, it could be a plugin that is creating a conflict. If the page is loading, but it works differently for logged in and logged out users, well, 99 out of 100 times is going to be a cache error, because cache usually is applied only to logged out users. And another example for cache error is if you're having problems with your login, logout, and password reset, because it really relies on cookies, and if WordPress login pages are cached, it could also give this problem. Also, you may get login, logout problems in case of weird redirects, or your two-factor authentication is not working properly. As I said again, the password reset is very similar to the login, logout problem, so usually that's a cache issue. If the empty cart is happening to you, like it's probably happening to millions of WooCommerce users out there, well, that's once again might be a cache problem. The cart contains dynamic content, relies on cookies and sessions. If there is something wrong with the cache, then of course your cart is not going to function properly. If the checkout form, and that happened to me as well with a client, is filled with another user's data, well, that's first of all pretty bad, and second of all, it's definitely a cache error. So the checkout form should never be cached because it contains the input fields and dynamic data. So of course, each user should have a no cache checkout and make sure that the data that they enter is kept secure, is not shared with the next user that comes back to the site. If you get 404 errors, which is called page not found, usually in this case you will look into your permalink settings, into maybe a wrong redirect, and also into your HD access file if you've done something wrong, or if for some reason it has been edited in the wrong way by a plugin. Same thing, if you get the white screen and it's telling you that you have too many redirects, well, it could be because you have an SSL certificate, but you haven't set up properly the HTTPS redirect. And once again, it could also be a problem within your HD access file. Same thing, same topic, which is HTTPS and SSL certificate. Sometimes a site shows as not secure, so you have some JavaScript console warnings such as mixed content. You probably heard of that. Well, that means that somewhere in that page you're calling scripts or images or files or external resources with an HTTP call as opposed to HTTPS. So if you go and view the source of the page, you just need to take a look at what calls you're doing, and that's possibly the problem why your green lock is not showing. Now, if instead you're having problems with uploads and you're not able to load images, for example, well, that's probably a file permission issue. It could be a security plugin, it could be your hosting, so you should definitely check in there. Finally, if you're in the middle of a big update, plugins, theme, WordPress core, and for some reason the update gets stuck, or there is something wrong within this process, you might get back to the screen once again to the website, and it says this site is briefly unavailable for maintenance. So that means that the update basically got stuck and didn't make it on time to remove a file. This .maintenance file is actually added by WordPress itself while your website is undertaking updates, and simply deleting that file will actually get back your website to working. So the idea behind this lesson was quite simple. Yeah, we have to do troubleshooting. Yeah, we have to invest a lot of time into understanding what the cause might be. But if you have a list, such as this short list that we've seen in this lesson of possible causes given a symptom, then it's probably helping you with reducing your troubleshooting time.